test, 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 test.
Keep on trucking in the free world.
Oh, hi! What's going on, everyone? Oh, a lot of you have been asking about how I've been doing and just trying to get back in the swing of things here, and yeah, I've been doing great. I'm building my dream here on the island, and got a great new property, and just been setting up camp and just absolutely loving it. And I got some plans for maybe next year, build a little cabin. Yeah, we'll see how it goes. You know, I'm just going with the flow. Just going with the flow, and it's a fantastic way to be. No stress, and surrounding myself with good people and positive vibes, and life is good, everyone.
Alright, enough chit chat.
I see that my last upload was quite well received, and I think that's because people are definitely wide awake. And when I say awake, obviously that is the opposite of woke. We're awake, not woke. But a lot of people who were very naive last time around, a few years ago, when all of this started, and when I say all of this, I'm talking about how the world changed, the end of 2020, the whole COVID thing and all that, which I warned about on this channel before it even exploded. I said, you watch out, everyone, this is coming. And I hate to pound my chest and boost my ego and say, I told you so, but I told you so. And everything came to pass pretty much exactly as I said it would, along with millions and millions of other people. But so many people chose to just sleepwalk through it all, and they were hypnotized by the media, hypnotized by what their elected officials were telling them, by so-called health experts and health officials, or top doctors, in quotes, I like to say. In other words, a bureaucrat standing at a podium on television on the 6 o'clock news, who is on a government payroll, and telling you what to do, and instilling unfounded, unscientific fear into people. And I mean, this is what governments have done all through. If you've never read a history book, this would all be new to you. I can't believe how many people have not read any human history when I saw what happened over the last few years, and how easily people were manipulated by the media, by the government, in turn by the media, which is a mouthpiece for the government. I mean, it was just surreal. And a lot of people at the beginning who saw what was going on could see very clearly through all of this. They felt alone. They felt chastised, and people were feeling even abandoned by their own friends and family. Their friends and family just went along with the narrative and were terrified. See, fear can make people do anything. Whether the rationale for being afraid is real or not is completely irrelevant. The fact is, they're afraid, whether there's a threat or not. They were afraid because the television told them to be afraid. Their politicians told them to be afraid. But don't worry, that same big government, along with big pharmaceutical companies, is going to swoop in and save the day. And you should be thankful. And if you don't go along with it, you're a granny killer. However, flash forward to 2024. And now the fear-mongering is ramping up on media again over the Mpox. And I don't, that last video was a little tongue-in-cheek, yeah. But I don't claim to be a psychic or know what's going to happen, but I think it's pretty obvious that what happened around the world and the things that were pushed by governments around the world was really a test to see how far we can be pushed before we snap, before people start fighting back. And it happened in a big way in many countries, not to mention the Freedom Convoy right here in Canada, which ended up sparking similar protests all around the world. And right to this day, now we have the farmers' protests going on in Europe because of the way that governments are now attacking farmers and our food sources and people's independence. I mean, these are all things that the government doesn't want us to have these things. They want us to be dependent on them. You should just move into a little shoebox in a city and get a bus pass and give up all your belongings. You will own nothing. You will be happy, right? However, I see a heck of a lot more awake people now. Much more. I am pretty certain that governments are well aware that they cannot push us like they did before. Not even if the threat was more severe than before, which, by the way, nothing in 2020 and 2021, nothing justified those lockdowns. Nothing justified the circles on the floor in the grocery store and the plexiglass all over the place. Nothing. There was no scientific justification for any of it. But it made people feel better, and it proved how easily we can be controlled. And I said it 1,000 times, and I'm going to say it again right now. If you are one of the ones who complied, the only reason it went on as long as it did is because you complied. If this ish ever happens again, your compliance is going to be the biggest threat. It's not going to be what keeps us all safe. It's going to be what threatens our independence and threatens our freedom and allows government to do what it did again. Will there be mass non-compliance and civil disobedience if governments ever attempt to do that again? Oh yeah, I guarantee. In fact, I would say it's our civic duty to participate in civil disobedience if they ever tried that again. Absolutely. That goes without saying. And now with the WHO and their pandemic treaties there, where they're trying to basically take over sovereignty of individual governments, whenever they decide to declare something as being a global health emergency, they can direct governments and tell governments what they must do. And that's not obviously not tolerable. That's unacceptable in every way. But people got to remember that we have the power. Ultimately, we are still the boss, no matter what treaties they sign. No matter what the global authoritarian United Nations and WHO says or believes they can do, we ultimately have the decision to comply or not. If we practice mass non-compliance, they are powerless. The only thing stopping you or anyone else from participating in non-compliance is, again, your irrational, unfounded fear. You're afraid. You're afraid of what the government will do. You're afraid of getting a ticket for walking your dog during a lockdown. You're going to be afraid of losing your job. Well, guess what? What if everyone in your workplace all simultaneously decided to not comply? You're not going to wear a leopard print mask to work tomorrow. You're not going to take a jab that you know you don't need or is unnecessary, or you just feel like, or you just made the medical choice not to take one. No government can be tolerated ever forcing these things on you. And more people are standing up now than they did before. A lot of people are regretting their decisions in 2020, 2021, 2022. It is everywhere you look, people are like, yes, I complied. I made a mistake. I will never do that again. It should never have happened. Exactly. People are awake now. They're starting to realize that big government is not your friend. Never has been. They do not have your best interests in mind. And people are really realizing that media is a psyop. There's nothing tinfoil hatty about that at all. This has been known for decades. So, what's going to happen with Mpox? I don't know. What am I going to do? I'm just going to keep on living my life and doing what I always do. I have an awesome job. I love to get on here and talk to you guys once in a while. I'm gonna share my opinions, my feelings with wild abandon, and I don't give a crap what anyone thinks about my opinions. I'm just happy that you're all here along for the ride and you seem to agree with them. That's awesome. And that tells me I'm not alone. I am part of a huge global community. We are the large fringe majority, not the small fringe minority. So we just got to keep on keeping on, go about your daily life, and when the WHO and your local newscast is trying to scare you into submission again, you need to laugh it off. Just not a chance. It's not going to work on me. It didn't work on me last time. It's not going to work on me this time. Not even if it's a legitimate threat this time. Honestly, I will take dangerous freedom over supposed state-provided safety any day of the week. And yes, freedom is more important than everything else. Everything. Without freedom, we have nothing.